What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Big Ten Football Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Guggenheim, and we have got a show for you tonight. It's going to be so hectic that I had to separate my guests, at least virtually. But before I introduce my guests, make sure to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Definitely leave comments, reviews. Hit me up at Big10footballtalk@gmail.com and on X. But you know, to my left, Eric Boggs has been on our show several times. Buckeye Boggs, as he's affectionately known as, on the OHIO podcast. He's helped spearhead the College Huddle. He also wants Angry Ryan Day on a bye week, no less. So he
Extra
means
angry
business.
on a bye week. Extra angry. Yes.
Or should I say it's improvement week? Improvement week, not bye week.
Yeah.
So, but
no days off. No days off.
No days off. But I have another esteemed gentleman who has never been on the show. The second man representing the Boiler Express on our podcast, Dylan Kuhn, aka DK.
What up,
Dylan? How you doing, my man?
Who was the first one from our podcast?
Russ.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's
no.
tough.
Russ was great.
He was awake long enough. I mean, the nursing home goes lights out at 9. So I mean, I didn't know he'd be up that late. Good for him. I guess his nurses are giving him some leeway.
Oh,
no, I'm good, man. Happy to be here. Finally, happy to see you, Guggenheim. I love saying your name. I could say it all day long. I never get tired of it.
So on the other show I'm on, Big Ten Huddle, I have to hold back a laugh every time you comment. I love the name Guggenheim the live chat.
It's German. I guess it's German, right?
Yes, it literally. Yeah, Kuhn is very
not
much
nearly as cool fun to say though. It's just nothing to it.
Yeah,
Guggenheim's way funner.
Well, and it's I haven't done a lot of the research, but it means home of Guggen because Heim means home. So
I love Guggen. I'll tell you that much.
There we go. So we're 2 minutes in, and I hope for those of you who are listening, you're like, this is going to be a different show. And Eric, how are we doing? I know last time we chatted, your voice was a little scratchy, but how are we doing tonight?
Doing much better. So, yeah, I mean, you brought two guys who infamously JR will not invite back to the Big Ten Huddle together. So I'm not sure you know what you're doing, Zach, but for those of you who are expecting us to give you some in-depth Big Ten knowledge,
not here.
Go ahead and just realize that this is going to be like nothing you've ever heard or seen before.
It's going to be beautiful. I believe in redemption stories, so we're gonna redeem this thing, or we're gonna crash and burn. It's gonna
the last time I was on the huddle was with casual Big Ten Kent, and we were on there for 2 hours. So we got down to an hour and a half, and I said, JR, what's the longest huddle you've ever had? And he's like, an hour and 45. I said, we're doing 2, big dog. Let's do it.
Oh man. Well,
I'm not gonna do that here. I respect Guggenheim. I'm not gonna do it here. Maybe.
Oh man. Well, thankfully there are some games that probably don't warrant a full amount of analysis.
Michigan.
Yeah, well, so we'll get to that. Michigan, we'll start right there. 12 o'clock Big Ten Network, Arkansas State, 2-0 Arkansas State takes on number 17 Michigan, one-on-one, obviously reeling off that blowout loss last week. Michigan's still a 23.5-point favorite. Here's what we're going to do. I'll bounce different. Each game I'll kind of bounce either to Eric or DK, and then I'll bounce it over to the other, and then I'll kind of give my thoughts on it, and then we'll keep moving. So Boggsy, since you have a disdain for this particular opponent, what do you think is going to happen in this game? What's a key to the game?
Yeah, obviously Michigan is going to win by a bunch now because they actually have a head coach. Until today, they officially didn't have a head coach. So Sharon Moore signed his contract to be a head coach as of today. So I'm only going to assume that all is right in Ann Arbor, right? I mean, this is exactly what they wanted. So at least they're going to have that much right going on in the game. Now, as far as quarterback is concerned, Still don't think they're going to have much there, but I don't think you're going to need much of a quarterback in a game like this. Sharon Moore has not hidden the fact, Zach, that he wants to win, very similar to how they won last year, and that is run the football and play a great defense. The only problem is you have 5 new offensive linemen up front, and you have a new quarterback, and you have probably the most overrated running back in all of college football in Donovan Edwards. And that's not a hot take. That is not a hot take. That is fact. That is fact. I'm getting choked up just talking about how bad they are. So that all things considered, it is Arkansas State. It's not even Kansas.
That's a good Les Miles reference State. Right there.
So I mean, they're going to win handily. They're going to be angry. They're going to be upset, and they got to give this fan base a reason to jump back on the hype train. So,
yep,
there you go.
All right, score prediction at all, or
I would say 35 to, I don't know. I'll give them like 10 or something.
Okay, so you got to cover.
Yeah, they'll cover.
Yeah. Okay, DK, how about you? What do you think about this game?
I'll give Michigan the win, 49-3. Give him a field goal, or we could have an Appalachian State little run back here, which would be awesome for the chaos that is college football. But yeah, I mean, that's crazy that Sharon Moore is just now getting paid. I mean, I'm sure he's getting paid, but he's a contract just now. And they're supposed to be like one of the blue blood, programs in the country, and you're doing business like that. What are we doing up there? Anyway,
you're making sure that if the NCAA came down on you, you didn't owe him money.
Well, I only hope they take away that 2021 Big Ten championship, and then Purdue becomes the 2021 Big Ten champions.
Hang the banner,
hang it, dude. I was there. Now I can be able to tell my grandkids I saw Purdue win a Big Ten title in football. Seen it plenty of times in basketball, but this is a football program. But so I'm more than stoked to have that. I'll do the Colts AFC finalist banner in a second. If that means I don't know how we'll hang banners in Ross-Ade. There's no roof, but they're engineers. They'll figure it out.
That's true.
Yeah, they'll find a way. But yeah, so Michigan's obviously going to win. Unfortunately, I would love to see them lose. That'd be great, but I think they'll come out with the win.
So I think Michigan wins. Obviously, I have a feeling that Michigan fans are going to be mad after this game because I think they're going to be slower. I think there's some issues with the offense and the offensive line that I'm concerned about. And I think, Donovan Edwards, I think, is being misused. I think, to your point, Eric. And I just think it's going to be a little bit more sluggish than they want, even with a team with Arkansas State. Fresno State, I think I just saw that they allowed more offensive points to the team they just played than Michigan. And it was not a good team. I forget which team it was. And I think Michigan's offense against Texas was abysmal. I'm not comparing Arkansas State to Texas by any means. Right. I got 27-6. I don't think they cover. I think they're going to feel a little frustrated knowing that USC comes to town next week. So, but I do think they win. And it's going to be a 21-point win, multiple scores. But I think they're going to be like, is this real? Is this really what we're going to be putting on the field week in and week out? Which might be a hint of where I'm going with another team later on today, or later on in the show. 12 o'clock on Peacock, Central Michigan is going to Illinois. Fun fact about Central Michigan, they have Joey Labus, the former Indiana backup, who has already thrown 5 interceptions. So he clearly shows that he's been from Iowa. Maybe Central Michigan wants to send him back. The spread is 18, Illinois, 18-point favorites. DK, I'll send it over to you. What do you think about this game?
Well, having a former Hoosier anywhere near a program is bad news bears because they all stink. They're all bad at football and basketball, frankly. No, I mean, I'll pick Illinois. Illinois fans hate me ever since I made fun of them for having water guns after going in the tournament or whatever they were doing. I don't know, but Illinois fans don't like me. So shout out to my guy, Sonny Verma. I'll pick Illinois to win this one.
There you go. A score? Any score prediction there? Or?
Ooh, 20. We'll do 21-7.
Eric's like, no.
Listen, do you think I'm the score? I'm not the math guy. Okay, listen, Eric, you got something better.
This is coming from a guy who literally has on his hat Boilers by $1 billion. Come on. Come on. Illinois is averaging 34 points per game in their first 2 games, and that includes a game against Kansas.
That's true. Trust Bert.
All right. And listen. you know Bert, now that he's going to be showcased on the Peacock, is going to strut his stuff. All right.
His strut's more like a wiggle. Like it's weird.
It's a little bit of a wiggle and a wobble.
Yeah, like
right?
we're 2 large fellas, but he's got a walk I've never seen before.
Mad props. I bet that guy has got some serious. Well, I'm not going to go there with the frozen pizza story, but he about burnt down his office trying to make a frozen pizza. It's the best story.
Who among us has it? Okay, listen.
Okay, but all right. No, in all seriousness, Illinois much better than I thought they were going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. All right. Illinois is going to handle this game. Illinois might be the surprise team in the Big Ten in 2024. I thought they were going to struggle to get to find 5 wins on the season, and maybe if they're lucky, get 6. They are cruising right now. They look like an 8 win team, maybe even 9 right now.
Yep.
They look really, really good. And so they've always been, better defensively than they have been offensively under Burt. But the way they look offensively now with a veteran-led offense, that team is dangerous, dude. Yeah. So they're going to win this game easily. I think they score somewhere around 40 points. Give me a 42-17 win.
That's really close to what I've got. I've got 38-10. And I think you're going to see a couple of picks. That secondary, Xavier Scott was I don't know if the Big Ten named him this, but he had to have been the defensive player of the week.
Unbelievable.
And he was, touchdown, sack, 2 picks. I mean, he played out of his mind. Miles Scott, who's also in that secondary, had a pick. This is, I think 38-10. I think it could be worse than that too. But yeah, I think here, and going to your point, sets up a amazing Friday night game next Friday, Nebraska, Illinois.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Might be a battle of 2 top 25 teams.
Patrick Mahomes Jr.
and I'll say this. I said this on, I think it was when you, I forget when it was, but I was in the live chat for Boiler Express, and I said, Hudson Card and Luke Altmaier, that's going to be a fun, underrated quarterback matchup. Altmaier is playing really well right now.
He is.
Yeah. We'll go to we'll go to Prairie View A&M going to Michigan State. I didn't even know Prairie View A&M was a school.
Didn't even know.
Please tell me they're the Prairie Dogs.
That's a good question. I do not know.
They gotta be. How could you not be the Prairie Dogs?
That'd be a fail.
No, they are the Panthers.
That's the Prairie Panthers.
All right. So there's no line on this game. It'll be on the Big Ten Network because okay. First of all, why is this game not on Peacock? Like, who wants to watch Prairie View A&M besides Michigan State? I mean, I'll watch it because I'm a,
Zach's like, I'll watch them all.
Yeah, but aside from me, who's crazy enough and Michigan State fan? Anyway, that's enough. I'll just ask it as any concern for Michigan State coming off a big win on the road against Maryland?
On the fact that I've never heard of this school, I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to be all right. But no, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
So Michigan State's not as. I don't want to give Michigan State too much credit for what they did against Maryland because I think Maryland might have the biggest drop off in the Big Ten from last year. And I believe that going into the season, and so far that has rung true for me, that Maryland is not the same without Talia Tagovailoa at quarterback.
Nailed that word.
Thank you.
I still can't pronounce that. I'm lucky I can pronounce Hudson Card on a good day, let alone whatever that is.
So here's another one for you. Here's another tough thing. So Jonathan Smith is doing really great.
You mean the name that's on every credit card commercial ever that's printed on the credit card?
Yeah.
I grew up with the Jonathan Smith, and we always made fun of him for that name. Shout out to Jonathan. I don't know where he's at now, but good guy.
So Michigan State is I don't want to jump to conclusions and think they're back. I think that game, the win last week, although it was on the road, it is against a Maryland team who I don't think is going to be playoff or a bowl game worthy. I don't think they get to 500 this year. So this should be little word of wisdom to the Michigan State fans. Enjoy this one. Rest of your schedule much more difficult moving forward. You get to 3. Can you find 3 more on your schedule and get to 6? That's where I'm at with Sparty. So enjoy this one this week. I'll give them the victory and say they win. Let's give it 38-13.
All right, Dylan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I bet they'll put up at least 41. So I'll do 41-0. I don't know. Prairie View, there's no way they score. Like who's playing at Prairieville or Prairie Town, whatever they're called?
Yeah.
What are they? Well, did I get it right the first time? It
Prairie
doesn't
View,
matter.
Prairie View A&M. Prairie View
A&M.
A&M.
Oh no, they added the A&M.
They're an ag school in the prairies.
Well, then they may have a good offensive line, some like corn-fed white dudes. So I'll give them that. They probably got some O-line dogs. But yeah, I doubt they scored a touchdown. I'd be shocked if they did.
Yeah. I think I have 38-3 on this one. I think they will use this game to kind of work some things out with Aiden Chiles. So I think it may be a little sluggish at times. And I agree with you. I don't think the win against Maryland, I think in context, the win against Maryland's big because I think everybody knew this is going to be a tough rebuilding job for Michigan State and for Jonathan Smith. And so it's a big deal. And I think this is a big game for Aiden Chiles' progression because I think he just came in pretty raw, but you see the talent. And so this game is really not about just winning. It's about progression. And I think that's a big question. Can they find 3 more wins after this game? That it'll be interesting to see what they do next week against Boston College. I wouldn't pick them to win it, but how overhyped is Boston College because of a big win over not so good Florida State right now?
Well, Boston College has got a big one this week too against Nebraska. No, who they play this week?
Who does Boston College play? Research.
They play someone big this week.
Let me look.
Because it was like a top 25 game. It was like, it's Missouri. Yeah, Missouri. It's a top 25 matchup. Yeah.
That'll be
Boston College, Missouri. That's a good game, dude.
That's a good game.
Yeah, I might tune into that game a little bit. And it's at Mizzou. So that'll be Boston College is in the top 24 and they might be.
Well, if they go into Mizzou and they win that game, it's like, okay,
Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, I see you. I see you, O'Brien.
The weirdest chin I've ever seen is Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
That man needs to grow a goatee, call it a day. Goodness gracious. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Can't even do it. I haven't seen my chin in 10 years. I don't know how many are underneath this thing. Listen.
Anyways,
Man.
Prairie View is in Prairie View, Texas. I just looked that up.
Nice.
See? Big white boys on that O-line from Texas. I know they're dogs.
You go look up their website right now. You'll laugh when you see what picture pops up.
I can't wait.
It's anything but big white dudes. Okay.
Prairie View.
While Dylan's looking up Prairie View, we're going to move on to Nevada, going to Minnesota, 3:30.
Oh.
Now everybody just stop listening to Zach's show and looked up Prairie View's website.
Whoops.
We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving. But for those of you who are listening, if you want to comment what you see on the Prairie View A&M website, in the comments. Feel free.
Shoo. Okay. All right.
Nevada, Minnesota. Believe it or not, tickets to this game is cheaper than the tickets to Prairie View A&M and Michigan State. Minnesota 17.5-point favorite. Any keys to the game and scores, DK? I'll send it to you.
Well, we'll see how tight PJ Flex maroon britches are. We'll see how much blood they cut off to his brain, because apparently it's a plenty. We'll see if they can row that boat to somewhere. I don't know. Minnesota's going to lose. I don't know by how much, but I just PJ Fleck.
Ow.
PJ Fleck is one of those coaches that I like, but I don't want him coaching my team. But I like having him in the Big Ten so I can look at him and his quarter zip with the shirt and tie underneath it and just laugh at him. I just don't, because if he came to Purdue and put a boat oar on our helmets, I'd raise all sorts of cane. I'd be so mad. And then they got Ski U-Ma, they got Row the Boat, they got Golden Gophers, they got all these gimmicks. I mean, it's just, give it a break. He, at the end of the elite, apparently elite's his favorite word. Pat McAfee said on his show about a year or so ago that when the people at the offices look at you, they say, have an elite day. It's a cult. I mean, it's cult behavior. No, I don't know. Minnesota's going to lose. PJ Fleck is going to lose. I don't know. But yeah, down goes Minnesota. I went on a PJ Fleck rant, but listen.
I've went on many PJ Fleck rants. So that's on brand for this show.
Nice. All right.
Boggsy, what do you think?
All right, Boggsy, get adult. All right.
There's no way Minnesota should lose this game. Nevada lost to Georgia Southern 20 to 17, and then they barely beat Troy 28-26. They lost to SMU 29-24.
How dare you bring facts and research into this? How dare you?
I mean, come on, guys. This is if Minnesota loses this game, then in all seriousness, PJ Fleck should probably be fired
on the tarmac. And they're not even gonna be on the tarmac because it's home.
And then the equipment manager's got to spend all week getting the boat oars off the helmets.
Right. I mean, so here's the thing: Minnesota is. I feel bad for the Sky U Pod guys. I love those dudes. They are the nicest guys.
Good people.
And they have to be so frustrated with the fact that PJ Fleck has regressed as a coach. When he came in, he had all this energy and excitement and lifted the program. They reached 9 wins. Did they get to 10 one time?
I think they were 10
one time.
I think they were 11-2 in 2019 because they lost to Wisconsin and Iowa. I forget if they lost the bowl game or if they won. I think they won the bowl game that year.
Okay, so they were 10-2, and then they won their bowl game to go 11-2 that year, right? Okay,
yeah.
So they were basically one win away from winning the West, and now the West is gone. Minnesota's got zero chance to ever get to Indy. I mean, zero. Okay.
Yep.
They've regressed to what, 8, 7, 6 wins, and here they are. They have this big season opener against North Carolina, a chance to say we are not who you thought we were, and lo and behold, they're exactly who everybody thinks they are. Minnesota's going to win this thing by 7. It's going to be closer than it should be. I'll give it 21-14 in a game that's like, what are you doing, PJ? What are you doing?
I wouldn't say I did make fun of PJ Fleck and his slogans as I'm wearing a Boilers by the Billion hat. So I do want to beat the comments because I know says the idiot wearing the Boilers by a Billion hat. You're right. That's on me. My bad.
Yeah.
Out of all the coaches who came out of Jim Tressel's coaching tree, PJ Fleck has to be the most disappointing one.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Huh.
I'm a little split on this because I think I am very much a PJ Fleck. There are two coaches on this show that I am down on mercilessly all the time. And no, it's a Michigan coach is not one of them. It's Mike Loxley and PJ Fleck. Because I feel like they constantly do.
All right, so we need to adjust this list. You need to add Kirk Ferentz to that list.
Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there. Trust me. And there's a difference between him and I think the other two guys. But there's room for him in a special category.
The other two shouldn't be in a nursing home?
Pretty much. I wasn't going to go that far, but
Okay.
kind of. But I do. Here's one thing I was encouraged with last week is that I thought PJ Fleck did what you need to do against an overmatched opponent, which is develop the parts of your game that are weak. And so he actually took time to develop the passing game a little bit. I want to see them go deep more often. I think that's probably the key thing.
They refuse to.
Yeah, and they need to. They've got a great receiver in Daniel Jackson.
Best weapon on their team, dude. Best weapon.
So good.
Underutilized.
So good, and it's a travesty that he's underutilized. I think because it's Nevada, I do think they will open it up a little bit more. So I have a little bit of a higher score or a bigger margin. I still don't think they cover because I believe the line, what did I say the line was, is 17.5. I've got 31-17. I wouldn't be surprised if it's close going in the fourth quarter. But I do think Minnesota shows a little bit more progress. But I'm saying that seeing what they did last week and knowing that they know what they did against UNC wasn't good enough. PJ has to prove why he went out and got Max Brosmer. Like that you don't go out and get Max Brosmer just to run the ball 50 times.
Right.
Like you can't do that. And so I think I want to believe that there is a plan to continue to evolve this passing game. So, but I wouldn't be surprised honestly, I wouldn't be surprised with either of your results because we've seen PJ Fleck lose to Bowling Green. The mighty Bowling Green Falcons.
Hey man, don't sleep on Bowling Green.
Well, not this year.
Maction, baby. Maction.
Yeah. Speaking of Kirk Ferentz, we'll go to that game, 4:00 p.m. on FS1. All the times are Eastern, by the way. I keep forgetting that people
it's American time,
games.
so yes.
Yeah, games on the Pacific Coast, Central. I was going to say Central Coast, and I'm like, there's no coast in the Central. Lake Coast, I guess. But Troy going to Kinnick. Iowa's a 22-point favorite.
Too much.
Way too much. Smash the under.
I'm not sure. Well, the over-under is 38.5.
Oh,
too much.
Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah.
Good.
So, DK, I'll throw it over to you. Or no, Boggs, I'll throw it over to you first.
Thank you.
Yeah, you go. Unleash.
Iowa won 40-0 in their opening game because Kirk Ferentz wasn't allowed to be there. That guy holds that team back so bad. And I don't like Iowa fans. I don't like them. And here's the thing. I feel sorry for him because he's held them hostage for decades. They are under the mindset that Iowa can do no better than 10 wins and be second and play second fiddle to the big boys in the East. That was their mindset. And they're fine with that because that's how Kirk has set it up to be for them. Iowa years ago used to be one of the best teams in the Big Ten long before Kirk Ferentz was head coach. And they can be that again. You don't believe me? Look at what's happening to the south of you in Lincoln, Nebraska. That team is on a trajectory that you thought you had, but it was all fool's gold. You were never on that kind of trajectory. Nebraska is going to pass them by, not only this year, but for a solid decade, as long as Rule's there, because he's 10 times the coach that Kirk Ferentz is. Cut ties, fire the guy, get rid of him, and restart your program. Iowa is a joke to me, and I can't wait to hang about 60 or 70 on them and their awesome defense that is absolutely going to be gassed in the fourth quarter because your offense is trash. As bad as Michigan's offense is, Iowa is even worse.
DK, you're
relax. You fanning you off. Boggsy's getting hot.
That's how Iowa take. I've been preaching that for solid 3 years.
Yeah. What's your score on this?
24-17.
Okay, close game. DK, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, can't follow that up by Boggsy. I'm gonna go 21-10. And I'm not going to give them as many points as Vegas thinks they're going to get, because that's diabolical. I don't know how in the hell that became a thing. So I don't know who's running the books over there, but they need to be fired. Not that I'm like good at numbers or a bookie or any of that. If I'm a bookie, so many people are in trouble. But yeah, no, Iowa's going to win, but they're going to squeak by. And I don't hate Iowa as much as Boggsy does. Kirk Ferentz, he's Kirk Ferentz. I think he has run amok over there for all this time, and they are oddly okay with what they have, and I feel like Iowa could be better, especially with the I mean, Iowa State's done fairly well, beat them. So yeah, I don't know I don't know what dirt Kirk Ferentz has on somebody over there, or the athletic director, but whatever it is working.
They're going to put a statue up of Kirk Ferentz outside of Kinnick Stadium, and it's going to be the most mediocre statue of all time.
Is it gonna be like? Have you seen the Allen Iverson statue outside of the practice facility where it's like that big? It's probably be something like that.
We talk about practice.
We talk about practice.
Yo,
It's gonna be a big.
So I'm gonna disagree a little bit here with you guys.
Oh, listen to you pander to those Iowa fans, Zach. Go ahead.
No. So here's the thing. I think we're gonna get a little bit of fool's gold in this game. So I'm not gonna pander. I think it's gonna look. I actually have 37-3, and here's why. I think the offensive line was good enough to beat Iowa State. I think Caleb Johnson certainly was good enough to beat Iowa State. I think the defense was gassed because Cade McNamara stunk it up in the second half. I think because of the line and the running game, and I think because McNamara looked, he looked sharp in the first half, and he looked sharp in the second half against Illinois State. I think he probably gets a half where he does well, and then he'll revert. But I just don't think Troy has anything. Like, Iowa State has pretty good playmakers, like legit guys that are going to give everybody a problem in the Big 12. And so I don't think Troy's going to score much. I have them getting a field goal, and I think Iowa will pound them, pound the rock, and it'll make it look like they have an offense. And then they'll play Minnesota next week, and we'll have a mid-off. So I'm not, preseason I had Minnesota beating Iowa. I don't know if I agree with that take anymore, but we'll see. I want to see both these games, but I think we're going to get some fool's gold with Iowa Troy this week. So, but I could also see, 7-3 with two safeties. We could see that.
That'd be awesome.
That hasn't happened before, has it?
Sign me up.
6-4 back in 2004, Penn State, Iowa.
Good time.
Oof. Let's get away from this. Northern Iowa takes on number 23 Nebraska. Speaking of Lincoln, Nebraska, 7:30 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. There is no line in this game. Typically, there's no line until later in the week with these games with FCS opponents. Northern Iowa is not a bad FCS team. So like this, this might
home
be
of one Kurt Warner.
I think so.
Wasn't that Northern Iowa that he played for?
I believe so. Yeah. So yeah, Kurt Warner. They had a first round offensive lineman. I think Pennings. JR mentioned him last night or on Tuesday night. And, so they have talent. This will be the best team Nebraska has faced thus far. Like, better than UTEP, better than, I think easily better than, that might be misspeaking it too much. Yeah, I'll say they're better than Colorado because Colorado's a train wreck right now. So
real bad.
Yeah. So, DK, I'll go to you. Who you got?
I like the cut of Patrick Mahomes Jr.'s jib. I like the way he does things. I like that he's just completely hijacked Patrick Mahomes' everything and just used it because it seemed to work. I mean, he's good. He's really good. But, like, once you use Patrick Mahomes, I'm a Joe Burrow guy. But, like, Pat Mahomes is really good because he's won a lot of Super Bowls. I'll give him that. It's just weird to hijack somebody else's personality, make it yourself, and then but it's worked for him. Kids making money, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, Nebraska's gonna win this. Is it at Nebraska? I take it. I'd assume.
Yeah, in Lincoln.
Lincoln was electric against Colorado, and it seemed to work. And I think when Nebraska's good, they have one of the most like passionate fan bases you can come across. It's just the poor sons of guns needed to find a team. And Matt Rule, I think, has the ability to do that. And I kind of hope he does, because I feel like the Big Ten as a conference is better when Nebraska's good. And so it adds a little bit more competition for you freaking Buckeyes. But yeah, Nebraska's going to win by a lot. Patrick Mahomes Jr., Dylan's also are pure athletes. We all know this. Dylan Raiola, Dylan Thieneman at Purdue, myself, retired athlete. Just pure athleticism that you've never seen before in Dylan's in the Big Ten. So yeah, I mean, Nebraska's going to win for sure.
There you go. Boggsy, what do you think?
I've been drinking the Ross-Ade. I ain't gonna lie.
There you go.
That guy, I love listening to that guy talk. He's so genuine. He's the most genuine coach in the Big Ten. I like literally, I think how he presents himself to the public is exactly who he is in private. He's the exact same person. That's what I get from him. Mm-hmm. And I think he's getting from his team what he's done in the past. UMass, Baylor, now Nebraska, year 2, big difference, right? And then by year 3, they're challenging for a championship. I think he's on the exact same trajectory in Lincoln. I really do. And gosh darn it, them fans deserve it. That is a good fan base. And I've never had a negative interaction with a Cornhusker fan yet. And they deserve that.
What's the Nebraska guy in Banter's or not Banter, Jiminy Christmas, the Huddles Network?
Common fan?
Is that the rip dude who always wears basketball jerseys? Guys,
no. He's from the voice of the Cornhuskers.
Oh,
Justin,
that guy.
College football, yeah.
Justin's ripped all to hell. That guy. Yeah, if I were in that good a shape, I'd never have a shirt on.
Yeah,
good for him.
I told him that it was nice to see that his muscles got muscles over the off season.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah,
and then like a true Cornhusker, he thanked me. But
thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They were almost bowl eligible last year, and they had like the worst turnover margin in college football.
Yep.
All they had to do was clean that up, and they were going to improve because they've got a really good defense. And they've done clean that up, and now they've got a bona fide superstar at quarterback that the offense has galvanized around and believe in. Nebraska's going to win this thing big, 52-3.
Ooh.
Big win.
Half a hundo.
Yeah.
They call that a burger in the streets.
Nebraska is for real setting up that huge Week 4 game between 2 undefeated teams in Nebraska and Illinois.
That's gonna be a fun game. That's gonna be a really fun game. I don't have nearly as high of a score, but I do think it's a blowout. I've got 35-10. And I think for a lot of the reasons that you guys are talking about, I think home atmosphere, I think the lines have really improved. I think their defense is great. Tommy Hill had a great game against Colorado. And I think Dylan Raiola, like, they're smartly using him, right? Like, they're not putting too much on him, but he has certainly elevated them as well. Like, and I think it's easy to put too much on a young quarterback. They have not done that with him. And I agree. I think Rule, he's a genuine coach and he's a great coach. And as soon as they hired him, I'm like, he's the anti-Scott Frost. Like, yeah. And I said it on this show, year 1, it's going to be rough because it's year 1 and you have to change the culture.
Yeah.
Year 2, it's going to be different. And everybody before that was saying, well, it's Nebraska. They're not going to get their act together. I'm like, it's a different coach and he's changing the culture. And that's what we're seeing. So I agree. I think Nebraska wins big, 35-10.
Can I put a tinfoil hat on for you real fast?
Oh, please do.
You get 2 minutes. I'm putting a cap on it. So 2 minutes. Go.
I just wrote an article about who the 3 biggest names in the coaching carousel will be this offseason. Okay. 1, you've got the Iowa State coach,
Matt Campbell.
2, let's go down the Ole Miss, go down to the SIP, right? That fella, right?
Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin. Number 3, let's go over to Happy Valley, Penn State,
Ooh.
James Franklin. Do you know where Matt Rule's alma mater is?
Penn State.
Penn State.
Ooh.
Penn State's going to pull the trigger, fire James Franklin, or and ask James Franklin to leave. James Franklin's going to go for an SEC job or something like that. They're going to think they're going to get Matt Rule. Matt Rule's going to say no, thank you. I'm staying in Lincoln.
Ooh, clip that.
Penn State, what are you doing?
The only thing I think the buyout's too much.
Not if he leaves on his own.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's a good one, Boggs. That big brain Boggs.
What SEC? What SEC school? I think James Franklin is SEC. He wants to go back to the SEC. I think he would like to go back to the SEC.
Even though he's from Pennsylvania.
What's he done? He had more. I feel like he had more success at Vanderbilt than he's had at Penn State.
Oh, Vandy.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean,
do you see him going to Auburn?
Auburn. See, I think that's the Auburn. I think was an attractive job. It's been run into the ground, and I'm not sure if it's gonna ever be what it was. At least with Texas and Oklahoma.
What if Notre Dame pulls the trigger and fires Freeman, James Franklin to Notre Dame?
Can you recruit better at Notre Dame than Penn State?
My answer to that is probably no. But, you have some more advantages at Notre Dame than what you have at Penn State. Number 1, location.
Yeah.
Penn State's incredibly hard to get to, location-wise.
More than Indiana, you think?
Well, yeah.
Bloomington stinks.
South Bend from Indianapolis is not that far when you fly into Indy.
Okay, I see.
Who's flying? We driving around here, brother.
I'm just throwing it. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, and I'm just pushing. I don't know. I'm pushing back not because I'm like you're wrong. I'm pushing. I don't
see how James Franklin can go 9-3, 10-2 again. Not go to the. If he doesn't make it to CFP.
I do think if they doesn't make it to the CFP, because I think at 10-2 they make it in. But
what if Rutgers is 11-1? What if Nebraska's 11-1?
I don't see. I think in my mind, I don't think they're going to get there. But anything can happen in this day and age. But we'll get some more tinfoil hat wearing.
All right.
And we'll
talk about Mr. President, your 2 minutes is up, Mr.
Yes. All right. What we all want to talk about, Eastern Illinois Northwestern, 7:30 on the Big Ten Network, on the lake. Does big news? Jack Lausch replacing Mike Wright. I think they're similar quarterbacks, but they made a change. Does that have any impact in this game?
No, Northwestern's going to win ugly.
Yeah, I agree. DK, thoughts?
Give me the Lake Cats with the W.
Lake Cats.
That's a great mascot,
straight off.
That is great. They should change it right now.
Yeah.
Forget the Wildcats. Everybody's the
Wildcats.
Just
for this season.
Cats.
Like, you know how minor league baseball teams change their name for a game? Yep. They should be the Lake Cats for just the year. Listen, Northwestern, you don't have to pay me. Those are free. Okay, that's on the house.
Genius, you. You marketing genius.
I try.
The Lake Cats. I like it.
Love it.
I like it. Yeah, I've 23-9, ugly win, but I think they get the win. And they work out, I think, some things on offense with the new quarterback. Like I wouldn't say it's going to be pretty, but I think they'll work on some things with
The
Louch.
way they lost that game last Friday to Duke was very disheartening.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I think Lujan hopefully gets on track as a play caller again. But yeah, it was a tough break for them. I'd say more, but I already lamented quite a bit on my recap show. So we'll move on. We'll do Maryland at Virginia, 8 p.m. on the ACC network. Maryland a 2.5 point favorite. DK, I'll go to you. Who you got in this one?
I will never pick Maryland to win anything ever again in the rest of my life. Shout out to Big Banter. Rest in peace. So I don't know. Like Maryland looked decent against, I mean, they look good against Michigan State, fine. But go Cavaliers, take down the Turtles.
You know
All
who
right.
Maryland is, don't you?
Yeah, I know. They're the Terrapins.
No.
You
know who they really are, don't you?
Yeah, the 4 guys on that podcast.
No. Come on.
The guy that was on my show with the hoodie and
Who
sunglasses.
do they want to be in their minds?
Oh, they want to be
They're a poor man's Duke.
Duke. There it is.
Maryland is a poor man's Duke.
I love
That's
it.
who they are.
Hey, they got Scott Van Pelt though.
Virginia wins by a field goal.
That's what I got. I have
Me
Virginia.
too.
I have Virginia 31-28.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I think Virginia may have the same coaching problems that Maryland does,
Yeah.
but I just don't trust Mike Locksley. So, and I just don't trust them.
Mike Locksley, literally, his coaching career at Maryland was on the coattails of Talia Tagovailoa. That's what it was.
Yeah.
He doesn't have them.
You're
And there's
good
no
at words,
reason why
Boggsy.
Maryland should not be a really good football team being in the heart of the DMV.
Yep.
It's a failure.
Yeah. I agree.
I second that.
All right. So this one's going to be fun. It's Indiana at UCLA, which is in LA, if you hadn't heard. 7:30 p.m. NBC and Peacock. So if you actually pay for Peacock, you could watch it on there, or you could just watch it on NBC.
Or you could just not watch it.
This is going to be a fun one for me. I'm actually really excited about it. But I can understand the Purdue fans saying I'm not going to watch Indiana play. Do you not hate watch?
No, I do, especially if they're losing. I will absolutely. Like
Okay.
if
So
UCLA
you've watched a lot of Indiana football over the years, huh?
That's true. That's true. No, they're a bunch of losers. I mean, you ever been to Memorial Stadium?
Yeah.
Don't go. It's not fun.
Terrible.
It's not a good place to watch football.
Okay, listen, this is a Big Ten show, not a Purdue and Ohio State show. Let's love the Hoosiers here.
It's really bad stadium, Zach. It really is.
Well, I'm gonna just let
Do you
it
know
lie.
when Indiana takes all of their brochure pictures and everything? You know when they do that?
Yeah.
It's when Ohio State's there. That's a true story because it's all red, and they're like, "Look how full our stadium is."
They tweeted a
50%
photo.
Ohio State fans.
When you zoom in, it's like Braxton Miller jerseys, and like you just got to zoom in to quickly figure out that none of those people are Hoosier fans. And by the way, I mean, you're talking about a school that spelled their own name wrong on a dang on jersey, like just the Hoosiers. I don't know, I forget how they spelled it, but it was wrong. But yeah, as you can tell, I don't like IU.
That's fair. You know what is a good stadium? The Rose Bowl.
Yes.
And that's where they're going to be playing.
For bowl games, because UCLA doesn't even go to games.
Hey, okay, Big Ten show. Come on. I use a 3-point favorite. Who you got in this one, Boggsy?
After saying all that negativity about Indiana, they looked really good. So they did. Okay, I don't like Kurt Signetti, and I look at him as kind of like a bad guy. Like he wants to be kind of like the heel in the Big Ten. And I'm like, you know what, Indiana, you've been a jobber for so long in the Big Ten. The fact that you're acting like a heel, like is Kurt going to give you a little bit of a push here? So Indiana wins this game. They go on the road in LA, take down UCLA. They're 3-0. They're riding high.
The folks in Bloomington don't even know where Los Angeles is. Like they don't even know where California is. What do you?
Listen, the last time
They
Indiana
barely know where their own stadium is. Like,
Dylan, the last time Indiana went to the Rose Bowl, I wasn't born yet.
that means I definitely wasn't.
And I'm
born.
old as dirt, dude. So this is a big deal for them.
Yeah,
Big deal for them.
that's good. What's your score?
You know what? Give me Indiana 38-24.
Okay, high scoring. High scoring. How about you, DK? I think I have an idea where you might go with this one, but
Well, here's all I'll say. Okay, Bruins by a billion.
there you go.
By a literal billion. There have been people in the past. We went on a Virginia Tech podcast last year, and I said Boilers by a billion, and the Virginia Tech host literally thought I meant Purdue was going to score 1 billion points. And I said, "Sir, I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb. Like, relax." So, like, I'm picking UCLA to win just for the heck of it, because I can't say Indiana and win. Well, I just did, but I know UCLA Bruins by a billion.
All right. All right.
Ooh.
I preseason picked UCLA, and part of my reasoning was Indiana having to travel out. UCLA had a bye week. It's hard for me. It's hard to equate Indiana because like they played a glorified high school team last week, right?
Yeah.
But there is something about Signetti, and I appreciate the wrestling terminology, right? Like they were jobbers, but now he's a heel, and heels sometimes get booked a little bit better when you do that. And not that this is fixed, although, conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat, maybe, never mind. We won't go there. But I do think Indiana has elevated, and I just think the coaching advantage is going to be too stark. And I think the talent is a bit more proven at Indiana with Elijah Surratt, Rourke, the quarterback. I just think it's going to be a little bit too much. I got 28-17. So I think Indiana.
You're better. You're better than that, Guggenheim. Also, why I'm here, why on the topic, Signetti dyes his hair. Just like Ryan Day dyes his beard. And he does, Boggsy. Dang well that he does too.
He doesn't.
I have seen photos of that man in off season with a Santa Claus beard, and then all of a sudden he walks the sidelines with a jet black beard. At that age, you do not have a jet. I'm 28. I'm 28 years young, and I have grays in my beard.
Listen,
tell me that man has a jet black beard.
When you're a Sith Lord like Ryan Day is, it's naturally black. All right. Naturally,
but Signetti,
everything about him is black. He wears black hat, black. He's all. Listen, this isn't like a Macho Man after he dyed his beard black. All right, straight up, Ryan Day's all natural.
Oh man,
but Signetti for sure dyes his hair. Absolutely.
I like how Ryan Day is a Sith Lord who also is a mental health advocate. That's
hey, I saw Darth Vader on YouTube as a doctor the other day. So
rest in peace, Darth Vader. Rest in pease.
Yeah, rest in peace, James Earl Jones, who passed away. Yeah. I had no idea he graduated from the University of Michigan. I did not know that.
Ooh.
I'm
Michigan, not James Earl Jones. I am booing.
Well, Michigan. I will say, like, as a Ohio State guy, I'm often trashing, not on the show, but in life, trashing Michigan. But I will say, I like James Earl Jones, phenomenal actor, phenomenal voice, and he's a real one. And rest in peace, James Earl Jones.
93. I hope I see 53, let alone 93.
I'm just gonna move us on. 3:30 p.m. I don't know why this game is on Peacock and only Peacock, but Washington State, Washington, the Apple Cup, big rivalry game, and it's on Peacock. It just blows my mind. Washington, a 4.5-point favorite. It is at Washington, which I think is a big deal. DK, who you got in this one?
I'm gonna go with the dogs, the Huskies.
Dogs.
Strictly because I love their mascot, because dogs are the best. And couldn't tell you one thing about Washington State. Shout out to Ryan Leaf. But yeah, we're gonna go Washington 28-17.
Okay. All right. Boggsy.
So, if this game was at Washington State, I might flip my decision. So I'm going to go ahead and say Washington wins by a field goal in a close game, but do not count out the fact that Washington State feels like they've been stabbed in the back and they're going to take this game serious, as well as Oregon State this week. Like if I'm Washington and I'm Oregon, I'm a little bit worried about these games
Yep.
because I think these guys are out for blood. But because it's in Seattle, give me Washington by 3. I'm going to go 24-21.
Okay. It's funny, DK, we got the same score, 28-17.
Look at that.
I think being at home matters. I think Jonah Coleman is the difference in this game. Like I think Will Rogers will be steady, but I think I think people have not seen Jonah Coleman, and that dude's a stud.
Yeah, he's good.
Really good running back, and probably one of the least known commodities to the rest of the Big Ten. And I think he has a big game. I think he's the heartbeat of this win for Washington. So I got him winning by 11. Let's go to the Civil War in Oregon.
Yeah, Boggsy, you were there.
It.
Oh,
wow. Well, Boggsy, since you just got called out, before you go though, 3:30 p.m. on Fox, it is number 9 Oregon, who has dropped 2 weeks in a row in the polls, going to Oregon State. Oregon is a 16-point favorite. Ooh. Who you got in this one, Boggsy?
Speaking of the Civil War, fun fact, my family's from Kentucky, and my dad has a letter from a relative in the Civil War who 2 letters, one written from one brother and one from the other to their mother, which is a distant relative of ours. And one brother fought for the North, and the other one fought for the South.
Oh, my.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. Anyways, that being said, if Coach Smith hadn't left Corvallis and gone to East Lansing, I think Oregon State wins this game. And even though they've looked good to start the season, Oregon has looked bad enough that they know they have to start to get this thing on track. Mm-hmm. That starts to happen this week. I have Oregon actually winning easily. I think Oregon's going to win this thing of 42-17.
Big win for Oregon.
I think Oregon gets things kind of squared away this week. Everybody's kind of saying, hey, you guys are in trouble.
Yeah.
I think Oregon is going to be ready this week.
Yeah. DK, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, the Duck kind of pissed me off all offseason with his nonsense. But, yeah, I'm going to go Oregon 31-21. And they're just Ducks over Beavers, even though Beavers are cool too. But, yeah, we're going to go Ducks.
And by the way, shout out to the Belligerent Beavers podcast on the College Huddle. Those guys are great.
Another great name. That and Cocaine Willie. Cocaine Willie is my favorite one.
Cocaine Willie and Belligerent Beavers. If they ever went head-to-head, the shenanigans.
I'd buy a T-shirt with both their names on
it. Nice. So I will be honest. I am drinking the Beaver Kool-Aid this week.
Woo!
And
tangy.
Yeah. I have been pretty concerned. Now, to be fair, Boise State is a good team. And Oregon really, they got taken to the wire by a good team last week. Idaho, I think, just beat an FBS team last week. So, neither team is, super bad that they played. But Oregon has not, they struggled to stop the run last week. Now, granted, Ashton Gianti is going to do that to a lot of people. But they struggled to stop the run last week. They needed 2 special team scores to win. I'm still concerned. I think the offensive line has some injuries that they're still trying to figure out how to solidify that line. And at some point, unless you get solidified, you drop a game that you shouldn't. And I think this is this game. And I think to the point that you made with the Washington game, I think there's some bad blood. I think Oregon State has won games in this rivalry that they shouldn't have in the past. It's in Corvallis. And so it would not shock me if it's 42-17. Like just to be clear, like it wouldn't shock me if Oregon lights them up this week. But I just got a feeling, this isn't really straight analysis. It's more looking at the past 2 weeks and being like, I don't see improvement. I see more questions than answers. And I don't like that. And I think Oregon State pulls it off 27-24. So
if there's a game that they're going to drop that people aren't expecting, it's going to be when they go to West Lafayette, Indiana. That place is different at nighttime.
Yep.
They play them on a Friday night under the lights.
You know it.
Purdue.
Nobody comes into Ross-Ade at night. During the day, different story. At night,
they're gonna have jet lag. They're gonna be like, oh, Purdue, it's another mid Big Ten team, and they're gonna get surprised. That could be the one.
I did pick that preseason.
Did you?
Yeah. Now on the Big Ten huddle, JR made me. He was like, "I'm going to override you on it" when we did our game by game. But
don't you let JR bully you.
Well, it's his show, so he can do what he wants.
He wasn't there for a few weeks, and Kent was there. I mean,
but so that's my. But I agree. I think the travel that stretch of travel is going to be tough for Oregon too. So, but okay, so 2 of us have Oregon big. I do not, but we'll see what happens on Saturday. A game that I do think is going to be fairly lopsided. The big noon kickoff game, number 4 Alabama travels to Camp Randall on Fox. DK, who you got in this one?
Roll Tide. It's Alabama over the Badgers. That tide's going to roll all over those hamster-looking things. I'm going Bama by a billion.
Bama by a billion. They are 16-point favorites. So you're saying cover with a billion. Boggsy, how about you? What do you think?
Luke Fickell's disappointing me this year already, even though they're 2-0.
Yep.
They've not looked good at all. I thought they would be further along than they are in their rebuild under Luke Fickell. Things are just not taking hold there. And I'm starting to wonder if the Luke Fickell experience is not for Madison, Wisconsin. And
I don't disagree. Like I just discussed this with who did I talk with last week? TJ from Common Fan. We wondered if Luke Fickell is Wisconsin's version of Scott Frost.
Oh, Scotty Frost.
And I don't say that to demean him. I'm like, I feel like I'm seeing the same movie from last year again. And I
think I do like him over Scott Frost. I couldn't stand Scott Frost.
Yeah.
It's when he said Purdue was a winnable game. And friend of the program here at the Boyle Express podcast, Markel Jones, there's a famous clip where he walks by after Purdue smokes Nebraska and he goes, "It's just a winnable game." Like, it's one of my favorite clips of all time.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, and Badger fans, I realize that that's maybe a clickbaity way to say. I'm not saying that he is Scott Frost. But I think like the hype for Luke Fickell was so high. And like, you think, oh, he's going to get Wisconsin to the playoff.
He's trying to change the DNA of a program. That is difficult to do.
Yeah.
Very difficult to do. Usually you want to tap into what the DNA is already and then add your pizzazz to things, to what they already have, but that's the foundation that's there. And it looks like that is a much harder open heart surgery than what was expected, right? So Bama's gonna roll, I'm afraid. I don't want them to. I would love nothing more than the Badgers upset them. Get a big upset victory here over the SEC. But I haven't seen it from Wisconsin to have any confidence. I think Alabama wins this thing by 3 scores.
Yeah. I think anyone out there who thinks, well, Alabama struggled against USF last week. For a while. I just want to warn you, even though it's not Nick Saban, this is what they do. they have a group of 5 game where they play with their food a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, see, Alabama's not very good. They're not very good. And then they come out and smoke a Power 5 opponent.
Yeah.
I have, I think, 45-13. I don't see how Wisconsin scores, which like that is when Bama starts to just take over and roll you. So like, I think it could be like 35-3 at half. Like, because I don't think the defense has been particularly effective. I don't think Van Dyke has been effective. The running game has struggled, which is, I think that's the biggest surprise.
Zach, they were losing in the fourth quarter to Western Michigan.
Yeah. They're not good.
Who Ohio State literally put their backups in against in the third quarter and still kept scoring.
Yeah.
So
it's not good in Madison. Like I think there was a lot. I mean, I wasn't as high as some people coming into the season on Wisconsin, but I think I had them as 7 or 8 wins, and they are currently my second worst team in the Big Ten.
yeah, in the power rankings, they're out of 18 teams. I think right now they're sitting at 16th.
In the whole college huddle, right?
Yeah.
Big Ten. Yeah.
The Big Ten team power rankings in college huddle.
Yeah.
So,
And I had them at 17th personally. So it's ugly, like 16th across the board. And so, yeah, like it's not good. And this would be a big way to prove us wrong, right?
Right.
If Wisconsin, even if they keep it close, it's like a vote of confidence to be like, okay.
Well, that's what I was saying about Michigan last week. I go, if a Michigan loses this thing by one score, that's a win for them.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen.
No.
Right?
No.
And that's how I kind of feel about Wisconsin this week. You can keep it with it as a score, that's a dub for you guys. Ain't gonna happen.
Yep. Yeah. Agreed. Let's go, I think, to maybe our game of the week, because our esteemed gentleman on the right, DK, representing the spoiler makers, getting out the sledge. This is going to be a fun one.
Boggsy, don't you?
This is going to be a 3:30 kick on CBS. Number 18 Notre Dame taking on the Purdue Boilermakers. Notre Dame a 10-point favorite in spite of the fact that they just lost to Northern Illinois. DK, I'm going to go to you first. Who you got in this one?
These cats up at wherever Notre Dame, I forget what they're at. Anyway, Notre Dame ain't ready. They're not ready for the buzzsaw. I would feel better if it was a night game like Boggs you referred to earlier. It's a 3:30 kick, which is, I think, rigged. I think Notre Dame didn't want to play us at night, which I understand. But yeah, I'm gonna go. Hudson Card's gonna go bananas. You got Seven, who's a baller, who is like the size of a lineman or a tight end, but he's playing at wide receiver. Maccabee's gonna go bananas. Jordan Love's gonna go bananas. We're gonna have a hell of a game. I mean, I'll be there. I'll be in the stands. Real excited to see it. So Boilers by 1 billion.
Nice.
Hammer it down.
Boilers by 1 billion. Boggsy, what you think?
It's South Bend, Indiana.
That's
Dylan.
it.
I don't know if you've ever heard of it or not, since if you were
it's not a real place. It's not a real place. We know it.
No, many would agree with you. They would say it's a magical place.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people. Although I predicted that Notre Dame would go 12-0 and be the fifth ranked team in the playoffs. That didn't happen. However, I heard today that there was a very good excuse as to why Notre Dame lost that game last week. Their tablets weren't working on the sideline. Did you guys hear that?
I did not.
It.
Oh yeah, their tablets weren't working all game long, and so they have a built-in excuse as to why they lost to the team that was ranked second to last in the MAC in Northern Illinois.
Tough.
Youch. Okay, here's the thing. If Notre Dame comes out and they do not play inspired football, Purdue's going to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fire Marcus Freeman chants are going to get very loud in South Bend and all across the country because Notre Dame fans are everywhere. So here's the thing. This pick is for the Wild man. Chris Wilds cannot stand Marcus Freeman.
Oh.
He hates him because he's a former Buckeye who's turned his back on Ohio State and talked all kinds of trash. I'm wearing the Chris Wilds Memorial Trophy, half Purdue, half Ohio State. This week, we're going to have back-to-back call-in shows on the Always Irish where people are going to be crying and upset because Purdue is going to shock the world and beat Notre Dame 31-28 by a field goal. It's not by a billion, but give it to Purdue. They're going to shock them this week.
Come on, Guggenheim. Come on.
It's coming.
Jump on the train.
So
come on, ride that train.
Here's my
come on, ride that train. And ride it.
Wow. We gotta reference back to the 90s. I love it.
We got karaoke night breaking out.
People are gonna be like, did I start listening to a football podcast or a karaoke show? What's going on? Riley Leonard is playing hurt. He was not good
in his soul.
No, like he's hurt, like he's actually injured. Like I think he had maybe a sprained labrum.
I would say that too if I lost to Northern Illinois.
But so he's playing hurt in this game, which I think people are concerned about because he didn't play well. He hasn't played well healthy. The other thing that was an interesting stat for me, Northern Illinois allowed 15 points to Western Illinois, the same team that Indiana beat 77-3, maybe the worst team in Division I. They allowed 14 to Notre Dame. Now, granted, 2 of those points was a safety, so technically their defense didn't allow more points than against Notre Dame. However, I think Notre Dame's win against Texas A&M was a bit of fool's gold. I think the offensive line, because of the injuries up front, I think their offensive line is average. I think Hudson Card's the best quarterback they have faced up to this point. Easily.
Yeah.
Purdue's coming off a bye. It's at home. I think Notre Dame's going to struggle to score in this game. I think they're going to have to settle for field goals. 27-16 Purdue.
Let's go.
And I think Purdue shows, like I've been saying for the past several weeks now, Purdue is better than people think.
I think this show.
Purdue is better than people think. And I think the 2 best teams in Indiana are the Hoosiers and the Boilermakers.
One. There's one. There's one.
So you're saying that Notre Dame's on par with the Sycamores?
No. Don't put words in my mouth.
The Fighting Larry Bird.
All right, Guggenheim, listen. Can I add one more thing to your analysis?
Yes, go for it.
Notre Dame does not have an offensive identity.
They don't have an offensive line. Oh.
They do not have an offensive identity. And just if there's any Notre Dame fans who are listening to this, mark my words, you're about to lose a couple more recruits, including Deuce Knight.
They're coming to Purdue.
He's not coming to Purdue. He's going to stay in the South. But things are about to get really bad in South Bend. Really bad.
Yep. You hate to see it.
Yeah. Well, and I
don't. So
I think it's to the point. Like, and I unlike Chris Wilds, I want Marcus Freeman to succeed. I know he's said disparaging things about Ohio State at times, but he's a Buckeye, and I want to see him do well. But I just think he got elevated too quickly.
He did.
Great coach. Like I think he will be a great coach.
He doesn't know what he's doing as a head coach, and that's like Ryan Day had to make that analogy. Ryan Day had to learn on the job as well, right? and he had some growing pains, but he got to grow in an F1 car,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Big difference here.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame's not that. You know,
Mhm.
they're more of like a stock car here, okay? So, but here's the thing about Marcus Freeman that I just want people to realize. Last week, if I'm a Notre Dame fan, I am so discouraged by what I saw last week. How many times did he turn to his little analytics guy on beside him to ask him what the analytics say we should be doing in this situation?
Mhm.
You can't do that as a head coach.
Yep.
That tells me that he is indecisive as a head coach, which means he's second guessing himself. That's not good. Not
Yep.
good at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to have analytics, but you better know in your gut what you're gonna do. Like
You
you
know
better
who knows
know.
what to do in their gut? Ryan Walters.
Yep. I think so. To that point too, I think Ryan Walters' defense in year 2, I think is going to surprise people, and I think a big part of this too is Notre Dame's offense is struggling. Ryan Walters is a defense first guy, and I think they're going to cause some havoc
He's
for.
going to dial it up, man.
Yeah, yeah,
That
I
quarterback's in trouble.
yeah.
And,
So
and, if, and if they go to Carr, their
Mm,
backup, if they go to Carr, it'll be the first time he's been in a game, right? He's a true freshman.
yeah,
That kid's going to be like a deer in the headlights.
yeah, yeah.
Ross-Ade's scary.
Yep.
At night,
Agreed.
not during the day. I've been there during the day. It's a lovely place.
It was scary because you found out they didn't build that stadium with guys like us.
No, they
Those
did
seats are
not.
not made for people like us. Let me tell you.
Oh man.
I've seen Zach Eady and Isaac Harms and Will Berg. I've seen these guys try to sit in the bench seating at Ross-Ade. Their knees face this way while their face sits this way. I don't know how they do it. It's wild.
Oh man, they need a chiropractor afterwards.
Yeah, I need one afterwards. Golly. Shout out Big Mac Mary. But
Oh man. Well, this has been fun, and we kept it under an hour and a half.
Wait a second. We're missing one game.
Which game?
Ohio State's game.
Oh, they're on a bye.
who needs it?
They're on an improvement week.
They are going to improve like no one's ever improved before.
Yep,
No,
Marshall.
November 9th. Be ready. Okay. Old DK's coming to Columbus. We're going to race.
I can't wait for you to come. Hey,
Gonna
by
be
the
great.
way, this is a little off topic. There's a lot of Purdue people who have contacted me from our Purdue preview.
Yeah.
Who are like, hey, we're coming to the game. We'd like to meet you. They don't want to meet you. They want to meet me.
Mm.
I get it.
that?
I get it.
Mm.
Listen. The only thing I get yelled at me at games is Purdue used to have an inflatable mascot named Rowdy, and I've been asking where he's been for years now. And so one of my slogans on the podcast is "Where's Rowdy?" So once in a while, and while I'm walking through Ross-Ade Stadium, I'll hear, "Where's Rowdy?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It's a good question." That's the only time I get recognized is when people ask me where the
Where's
inflatable
Rowdy
mascot-
guy?
Yeah, where's this Rowdy guy at?
That's awesome.
But
You need to write a children's book about that. Instead of
Although,
Where's Waldo?
That's a good idea.
Here's the thing. The Boilers buy a billion hats are going to start to show up at Ross-Ade now. Like, that's going to be a thing,
Listen,
dude.
yeah, I got to get it trademarked ASAP.
Yep.
Yeah.
Royalties. There you go.
There you go.
So, gents, why don't you tell them where we can find you guys? Eric, why don't we start with you?
TheOhioPodcast.com. Go check it out. We have great articles every single day. We have the links to all of our sites, YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, you name it, we're there. If you don't like the way our faces look, we don't blame you. You can listen to the audio version of it. We have Facebook. We have the old Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. We're there as well at the Ohio Pod. But yeah, go to our website, theohiopodcast.com.
Cool. And you can catch Eric and I just did a fun collab
Yes, we did, buddy.
about the baptisms going on at Ohio State, which you guys should totally check out. It is obviously of religious nature. So if you're like, no, thanks, feel free to pass on it. But I'd encourage you guys. One of my favorite episodes I've ever done. So talking about faith and football. So, DK, where can we find you guys?
Boiler Express. Oh, what are we on Twitter? Boiler Express _ on Twitter. That's where you'll see most of our stuff. We have an Instagram, don't really use it all that often, and we're on Facebook where we do go often. And then our YouTube. It's all Boiler Express Podcast anywhere and everywhere. You can follow your boy Dylan Kuhn _ on Twitter, where I just talk nonsense. But yeah, we're live mostly every Tuesday night, with the exception of this week, which will be live right after I get done with this. It's a Frank and I episode, so that'll be fun. Big brain Frank and little brain me. So that'll be a good time. But yeah, you can find us there. Do what?
Not little brain, big mouth.
There it is. You got to have it somewhere, and I got it there. But yeah, you can find us there live every Tuesday night, anywhere where you live stream. And then you can catch me in the comments or on the phone calls at the OHIO podcast. I'm there often, just for no reason, really. I mean, people are probably quite confused why there's a Purdue guy calling into an Ohio State show all the time. Mostly because I like to yell at Chris. That's kind of my favorite thing to do ever. But before that November 9th game, I know I will be on multiple OHIO pod shows that week. And if Purdue wins, oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh boy. Oh boy is right. Oh boy is right. Well, make sure you go follow these guys, follow their podcasts, and of course, make sure to like and subscribe here. We just hit big milestone on YouTube, 250 and counting.
Let's go, so Guggenheim. Hell yeah.
Keep going. But really appreciate you all. Thanks for listening. This was fun, guys. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
Hey, Guggenheim, I love you.
I love you too. I appreciate. Well, we'll do this again. We will have both of you on at the same time. This worked well, I think. So JR might not tune in, but
JR probably sent you a text. Why are you doing this?
I did send him a last minute invite. I was like, you want to join? He's like, I'm not sure how I feel about
JR.
He didn't say it like that. I'm throwing him under the bus a little bit. So
throw him under the bus.
No, he didn't say it like that. But thanks for the rest of you watching and listening. Take care. God bless.